Hey everybody, Don from Top Guns here in Terre Haute, Indiana. Welcome back to Wheelgun Wednesdays. Alright, so we're going to do something a little different for Wheelgun Wednesdays this week. I have a lot of customers that come into the shop that ask particular questions. You know, I read this online about this part, what is it? You know, what is a forcing cone? What does it mean to index a revolver? So I brought Archie in today. Archie is our resident expert. He has forgotten more about revolvers than I'll ever know. He's like the Roy Jenks of the Top Guns world. So there's nothing that the man doesn't know. So Archie, we brought a little 686 in today, and I thought we'll kind of go through a couple things and the more common things that people look at when you're looking at either purchasing a revolver or maybe an older gun that you want to check and make sure it's still in good shape.
Okay, great. We'll do that and make it as simple and as fun as we can. I do want to show everybody this firearm is empty, so as we turn it around to show you, just know it is safe, it's been checked, and it is empty. Okay. As Don said, a lot of people look at revolvers, they'd like to have one, maybe think about it, but they're afraid of them. They just don't know what to look for when they're buying one. When you're looking for a revolver, the first thing or one of the most important things you should be looking at is what we call cylinder lockup. This is the cylinder on the gun. That is what holds the rounds, and most revolvers are 6 round, but there's a good number of 7 and 8 round, even 10 round revolvers that are available. You want to make sure that the cylinder is tight in the gun, and that's called lockup. And how you check lockup is you close the cylinder, cock the hammer, and you can check and make sure that there is no shake in it. Also hold the hammer, let it down easily, pull the trigger, should remain locked up. And also while you're doing that, take a look for end shake. End shake is the back and forth movement on the revolver. There should be very little end shake in it.
So for both of those, you could have just a little bit of play.
A little bit of play is good. A few thousandths both ways is perfectly acceptable, and actually you want a little bit. So when the round is fired and it's going down the barrel, there's a little bit of movement there. So when the bullet hits the forcing cone, which is this right here, what maybe you think is the beginning of the barrel inside the frame, that as the bullet travels through the cylinder and into the forcing cone, that it has a few thousandths to line up with the rifling in the barrel before it runs down the barrel and out.
So if you have too much play in your cylinder, can that affect the accuracy of the revolver?
It will. Too much play will definitely adversely affect the accuracy. If there's too much play, you'll get when the gun is fired and the bullet begins to enter the forcing cone, it will actually shave the bullet, and you'll have lead shavings coming out the side here. Also, as it shaves the bullet, it deforms it before it picks up the rifling and throws your bullets left and right, wherever.
Okay, so let's assume that a customer is looking at a used revolver and they're not, for whatever reason, able to test fire. Is there a way to, and they're not saying that they're not real sure about whether it's too much play or not, or maybe we're indexing properly. Is there a way to look at the revolver, either at the cylinder or the forcing cone, to see if it's been shaving lead and had that problem that maybe gives them some type of an indicator that there's an issue?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not 100%, but if you're looking to see if it's been shaving lead, you'll want to look at the forcing cone. And in the forcing cone, if it's been fired much and the revolver is out of time, you will see where the forcing cone is either cracked, has hairline cracks in it, or has been beat like it's been peened. Okay. And that's a pretty good indication that it's out of time. The best way to check for timing, and you'll hear that term a lot when it comes to revolvers, is the timing is the term that's used when the cylinder rotates and brings the cylinder up in line with the barrel. And I don't know if you can hear this or not, but when it's cocked, and you can hear it and visually see where that cylinder and the cylinder lock, which is right here, is engaging with the notch here in the cylinder. and locking it in place. You can feel it, see it, and hear it. Okay, if those three things are happening, the gun is in time and will probably stay that way for thousands and thousands of rounds. Timing is something that people talk about, but a well-built revolver, a Smith, the old Colts, some Tauruses, you'll shoot them 35, 50,000, 75,000 times, and as long as you're not abusing it with extremely high pressure loads, your gun will not come out of time. It's a rare thing, but it's something to look for.
Absolutely.
Something else to check for when you're looking to buy a revolver, and you can tell, and that is you'll want to check here on the ejector. Okay, if you spin that and watch the ejector right here, if you can see that one, it's nice and concentric. There's no wobble in it, which means that ejector is nice and straight there, and that it's not bent at the crane, at the ejector, and will line up with your barrel every time. Starting with the very basics, front sight and rear sight. Most revolvers will have an adjustable rear sight that are adjustable for elevation and windage. Next component is the hammer. Okay, and another term you'll hear is the hammer spur, which is this area of the hammer right here. You can put your thumb on and cock it and use the revolver as what they call single action. Okay. Next component is the cylinder, okay, which is this part right here. Okay. The ejector right here. The trigger, of course, right down here. And the crane is this component right here that allows that cylinder to swing in and out. Okay. Something else, the cylinder release latch right here. When the cylinder is engaged and inside the frame, the only way to release it is to push forward on Smith & Wessons, rearward on some other guns, Rugers and Colts, but that is what releases the cylinder so that they can be swung out of the frame and the cartridges can be ejected. Mm-hmm.
Just a moment ago, you mentioned double action. There is another type of action with most revolvers, and this one actually has both. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay. Yeah, revolvers are what they call either single action or double action. This is both single and double action. A single action refers to if you manually cock the hammer and pull the trigger. That's what's referred to as single action. Double action, hammer down. If you pull the trigger, it cocks the hammer and allows the hammer to fall forward and strike the primer and fire the round. Older guns, well, even some newer guns, some of the newer Rugers, Ubertis, other revolvers, they're single action only. The old Colt single action armies, where you can only cock it and fire it single action. You have to manually pull that hammer back every time. And that's the two that you will encounter most often.
All right, so Archie, we carry quite a few revolvers here at the shop. Most gun shops don't. When you go into your typical gun shop, you may find, I don't know, 15 or 20 guns in the case. I'm a revolver guy. Obviously, you're a revolver guy. It seems like over the past 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, the sales of revolvers have gone down substantially and kind of given way to the higher capacity Glocks and Smith & Wessons and so on and so forth. So people are watching this, maybe thinking about getting into a revolver. What are the pluses that we can look at as far as what we consider to be, features that just are unmatched with a semi-automatic?
And that's a really good points. Revolvers, extremely safe, very easy to operate. You pull the trigger, and it goes bang every time. Very few malfunctions that ever occur in a revolver. And the new semi-automatics, extremely reliable. But when you do have a misfeed, when you do have what they call a stovepipe, you have to be very practiced with your firearm, how to clear that. Also, there's multiple safeties that are incorporated into the semi-automatics that you don't have to have or need on a revolver because of weight of trigger pull. Like I said, just the ease of use and the dependability of a revolver, in my opinion, is just outweighs a lot of the, or eliminates a lot of the failures that semi-automatics can experience.
And that also goes for the user as well. Say it's not mechanically, you know, if you do something where you limp wrist a semi-automatic or you don't have a good purchase, that's eliminated by using a revolver as well.
That's correct. You have to have a very good grip on the revolver. You have to engage the safeties, especially if it has a grip safety. You have to be able to disengage the safeties on the slide if there's one built into the firearm. I said the revolver is just a piece of equipment that will serve you for many, many years with minimal maintenance and will just continue to perform under even some of the most adverse conditions. One of the disadvantages, or a lot of people think, is round count. And round count under certain circumstances, I want 25 also, but do I really need that? Okay. This revolver here we were looking at, it's the 627 PC. It's an 8-round revolver. It will load with moon clips. All of them drop right in, just like that, and unload. And then for reloading, for very quick reloads, and a practiced revolver shooter, we'll use a speed loader, something similar to this. It just drops right in, you turn the knob, and you're reloaded. And a practiced revolver shooter can, generally speaking, reload as fast or faster than someone shooting a semi-automatic. So there's not the disadvantage that used to be very common with 6 shots, and with the availability of speed loaders, it just wasn't available. But now, modern revolvers, they've been redesigned, coming into the modern age, larger round counts, reliability, and there's just something awfully fun about shooting a revolver.
I can't argue with you one single bit.
And yeah, these guys around here make fun of me. They call me the old Amish wheel gunner. Okay, okay, all right. And but old round guns are, if you're thinking about a new firearm, want something very dependable, want something very reliable and fun to shoot, a revolver is something to consider.
All right, thanks for watching this episode of Wheelgun Wednesdays. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe. See you next time.